Okay. Wow. Um. Aha. There we are. Hey. Well. Yep. Good morning. Good day, everyone. Discord is alive. Good morning in Discord.
Good morning, sir.
Right. Okay. Well, the opening video that we opened with, if you guys want to watch the rest of it, it's a rather awe-inspiring Japanese ritual. Um, Rather interesting. Starts out a little dark, but it does get wow. Further throughout it, the link is, of course, in the music by. Right.
Yep.
So, um, opening as always, we have a never expiring Discord link if you'd like to join us over in Discord and be heard. We have weekly topics. We're here whenever we can, of course. This is a family-friendly channel, so we try to keep the rhetoric and language down to a minimum, if you will. If you want a more adult-oriented channel, you're welcome to join us at 11 a.m. over on Live with a Shaman, where you actually never know what's going to come out of our mouths or what topic we're going to be talking about. Yeah. Right, so what is it today?
Oh, wow. Hey, Lester. In Discord.
Huh? Who? What? Where? Ooh, Lester.
Yeah.
Good morning, people.
Hello, Lester.
What are we doing today?
We are doing Raising Pagan Children today. How's the world in Louisiana?
Well, I would not know anything about raising pagan children.
I beg to differ because you talk to my daughter sometimes, Sabrina.
Yeah, but I never had any children to raise. I had y'all's kids
Yeah,
to
you
spoil
raised
and send back home.
Yep, that's the best way to do it, but yeah, you help.
Well, see, that was the thing about being Uncle Lester to all of the kids. You know, it's kind of like me being Uncle Pegasus to all of the kids. Hell, we could spoil them and pat them on the head and send them home. Didn't have to deal with it.
But when they get on our nerves, we just send them back to mama.
Right. Right. Well, it's good to see you on board this morning. So, I mean, you know, our topic, raising pagan children, I think I can thank Lee for that topic earlier this year when we were laying out topics. I damned if I remember who suggested it. Well, one of the first things I wanted to do, we are March the 8th, 2020, of course, and I want to get you know, of course, now, check this out. A lot of the YouTube channels that I watch, and of course we do archive to YouTube, there's a number of the YouTube channels I watch whose videos have been banned, kicked, deleted for talking about the global issues going on right now. There are certain words that cannot be used. Pandemic. There are certain words cannot be used, like the name of the thing that's killing people. So the only thing I want to say, right, is our thoughts and hopes and wishes and prayers go out to all of those families and all of those people that are sick. I know that for myself and most everybody in my family, we have respiratory issues, therefore we're watching each other very close. So that being said, we send lots of positive energy out to the rest of the world, that people who are sick will heal quickly, and family members as well. Right. Onward and upward, raising pagan children, raising Christian children, raising Jewish children, raising atheist children. Raising children. Just simply raising kids. Now I'm going to start out going at it from the aspect of my household. Alright? Good morning, Sabrina. Good morning, Dave, Lee, and everybody else that's joining in. As for our household, right? We raise our daughter to be who she is. We make sure that she's educated and, she understands the Christian philosophies. We try very hard to keep our opinion out of it unless she asks. Although, bless her heart, she did get the double whammy opinionated streak from both my side of the family and my wife. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Who the hell knows? It depends on who she's going up against at the time. But we've always raised her to be of her own mind, right? We're both pagan. My mom and my stepmom are professed Christian. Anyway, so she hears it from the different sides and the different aspects. For quite a long time, she did go to Christian churches. She'd come home, she asked questions. We didn't know the answers to the questions. We looked them up together, all three of us. But as far as which path she's going to take religiously, that's up to her. Yeah, we do our small pagan rituals here at the house. Of course, we don't have this big circle anymore because we don't have any place to have it. But still, I am pagan, regardless of whether I'm standing in circle or sitting at home. So what's the point? Well, the whole point is, my thought, raise your children to be who they are. Whoever that is, and bless their hearts, kids are going to change who they are day to day depending on what mood they wake up in. And anybody that's ever raised kids can tell you that. Anybody that's ever been around kids for any length of time can tell you that. You're right. So, as far as raising our daughter, we've raised our daughter in a pagan household with Christian philosophy grandparents, and her grandparents in East Texas are Christian. So we've got some Jewish friends and we've got some atheist friends. She has some atheist friends. So the only demand that we've ever put on her is, one, before you choose a religion, know the foundation of the religion. And I'll say that again. You're not going to ever know the religion until you've studied it. But before you profess a religion, you need to know the foundation, where it comes from, what it's built upon, what the belief systems are, and how those belief systems are structured.
That's what Sabrina over in Italy. I raised all my kids pagan. Well, boys circulate, they understand it. But Sabrina was raised pagan. And when she went over to Italy, where she's at, it's more stricter, the pagan over there. It's more open. So, yeah, she was raised, and now she questions some of the Italy pagan theories.
Right. And, I noticed the times that I have visited Scotland, I've noticed that more people are out over there, if you will. It's not in your face, but it's obvious. Um, Lee says that's how it should be, in his opinion. Absolutely agree. Sabrina says my kids are 9 and 11, and they are definitely asking all of the hard questions. Their grandparents are Bible thumping Christians, and oh my God, do we no agree on anything? Well, yeah, but still, it in my experience, okay, there are three words that I try very hard not to use together. Christians are wrong. Okay, those are the three words that I have always tried using, not to use with our daughter, and even the four kids that I was involved in prior to my biological daughter. Um, we don't use the term religion, meaning whatever other religion, are wrong. Now, when it comes to hate crimes, yeah, gotta love autocorrect, right? When it comes to hate crimes, absolutely. We're all over that being wrong. When it comes to holy wars, we're all over that being wrong. But when it comes to pagans, Christians, Jewish, atheist, agnostic, whatever, Muslim, right, living their lives and living their lives to be happy for themselves, that's not wrong. We will tell her we disagree with most mainstream churches teaching young children, if you don't do what the preacher tells you to, you'll go to hell. Well, maybe they will. Hell is a Christian thing. It's not a pagan thing. So, Cindy was sharing a bit about her kids, and I'm familiar with all three of them and most of their training. Clint, what about you?
Well, with my kids, I kind of let them grow up on their own with, open-minded and stuff. Uh, my son doesn't really have a religion. Jessica, she's atheist, but she's open-minded about stuff. And Amy, she's gone to the Christian side. But like you said, I raised them up to be individuals and to always question.
Right, right. Um, I like the way Clint says she's gone to the Christian side, almost like she's gone to the dark side. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see.
That's like Lee said that her says she has all the resources the kids want to research or study or follow them.
Yeah, resources. Study, read, research. And here's the interesting part. Talk to people. I have the cojones to go in and sit down and talk to the leaders of some of these churches that your kids may want to go to. And ask them straight up, what do you teach? Do you teach discrimination against other religions? Do you teach that everyone on the planet that's not Christian will go to hell. That is 2/3 of the population of this planet. Sabrina says, I don't think it's wrong to teach them Christianity, but they make the girls believe they are going to burn in hell if they don't believe. And I had to be the one to explain what hell even was. Yeah, and I mean, that's the job of a parent. I, really, if we just sit back, okay, see, here's the problem here, all right, and here's the problem that most mainstream societies have been in since the beginning of organized religion, villages, and population. The larger population, whatever belief system they follow, they tend to try to make all other belief systems wrong for multiple reasons. One, it gives them power. Two, it gives them control. And three, it makes everyone else think around them that they know more than they actually do. So,
Called them bullshitters.
yeah, that's when my crap meter goes clear off the scale. Ding, 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 ding. But also, Sabrina says, I let them ask the question. Well, we tend to bring up conversations sitting in the living room when our daughter is in the living room, and she may be doing something completely different, but we both know full damn well she's listening. So one of us will say, well, what do you think about blah blah? The latest current event in religious architecture, if you will, of one sort or another, such as we may hear of a hate crime or a hate killing somewhere. And we may bring that up and we discuss between us in earshot of the young one. And it's amazing how much you can teach a kid by what the parentals talk about in earshot. Now, let's carry on to the topic, though. Raising children pagan. Here's where it gets iffy. Here's where the difference of a pagan household and a Christian household come to play. There are very few, very, very few, just simple pagan households. I follow shamanism. My wife follows Fae. Many pagan households, both parents tend to typically be the member of the same coven, grove, or group. So here, once again, generally, boy, am I speaking generally, I don't want anybody to cut my head off here, you're still getting one-sided upbringing. Unless the parentals, as my daughter calls them, were known as parentals. Better than assholes, I guess. She probably calls us that at school, but that's all right. We need to keep our minds open the conversational table open in what we're discussing. And when the young person, age group depending, of course, because we're not going to sit down and have a wide open religious, philosophical, architectural chat with a 5-year old that we might have with a 15-year-old or a 14-year-old or a 13-year-old. I might have the same philosophical chat with a 5-year-old that I might have with a 10-year-old, depending on where they're at mentally. Yes, yes, there's usually a variation. So, how, and here's the one that I actually had asked of me some years ago. How do I open the conversation of telling my children I'm pagan? Anyone else want to jump on that one? How did you with children, of course, how did you tell your children you're pagan?
That's the funny thing on my side. My daughter introduced me to paganism.
Okay. You want to elaborate?
Okay, we just got through a divorce with my first husband, and my daughter was going to school in Morrisville, but heard about the Beaumont lady. I won't mention her name, and she had a shop. So she went up there with her friends, and they started talking and stuff. And the lady said, "You can't join unless your mom's a member or she knows about it." So I went up there and talked to her, and off we went with the paganism.
All right. Anybody else?
Well, with me, I was introduced to it in 2005 when the hurricane come through, but I was always questioning the philosophies of the other religions that I had dabbled with, so I wasn't really, you know, the pagan side didn't really come out until when I came to property.
Right. And Sabrina says mine kept asking me about what my altar was, and she says I finally had to talk. Well, here's the question. Would you have as much of a problem telling your children you're gay? I've had conversations with people that had no problems coming out to their family that they were gay, but they were having absolute conniption fits, driving themselves nuts, wanting to come out to their families about being gay, or about being pagan. Why? Lisa's, I use the former piece as an aid, but my kids knew I was pagan from as early as they show competent and understanding.
Okay, what's the farmer's piece? I'm curious now.
Say again?
I said I would want to know what the farmer piece is that we were talking about.
I think it's supposed to be former.
Altar? Most all pagan theologies, most all pagan paths have an altar of some kind, one form or another. And before somebody asks, no, an altar is not required to perform thanks to deity. We just like a place to display our pretties and our candles and a place of focus. It puts us in a mindset. So before somebody asks that question, and they will because they have done before, altars are not required unless you join a coven or a group that says they are. But that gets into the denominations of paganism, doesn't it? The base core pagan, god and goddess, whatever, farmers. Yeah, it's amazing how many farmers actually follow a lot of pagan philosophies in their tending of their crops, and yet they'll tell you all day long. Most of them will tell you all day long they're not pagan, they're Christian. Yeah. But then again, how many other philosophies can we go down that same road that came from paganism? But we won't go there. I had put in the description, talk about homeschooling. Homeschooling really is more for parents that have time and are able to homeschool. Homeschooling is becoming more and more popular and has been getting more and more popular over the last 15 to 20 years. And most of that is not necessarily due to people professing paganism, professing Jewish, professing atheism, professing Muslim. It's the sheer dangerous crap that is going on in public schools and has been for years. I mean, when I was going to school in the 60s and 70s and 80s, it was a dangerous place even then. At least as I use those because we plant gardens with the phases of the moon. Absolutely. The phases of the moon, different things plant at different times of the year, and it all comes down to, the phases of the mother and the moon and the sun. It sounds awful pagan-y to me. Anyway, I digress. Education. And I actually can remember back that far, so no cracks from the audience there. I actually remember. I actually remember back when I was a young teen and teenager, thinking I was 10 foot tall and bulletproof and knew everything there was about everything. But I hated then, as I do now, the bullying and the crap and the drama that goes on in public schools. And I say public schools, but even private schools that people pay mega bucks for are worse when it comes to bullying, fitting in with the clique. Um, yeah, I've had parents tell me, well, I've started sending my kid to a private school because it's safer. No, private schools are not safer. Cindy said she was raised Christian with an open mind. Now, go ahead.
I said when private schools are more stricter, but they, it's not safer. In fact, they have more, I'm sorry to say, narrow minds about the religion.
Well, the narrow-mindedness starts at home, usually, and that narrow-mindedness is reinforced in public and private schools. So let's say you're a parent and you're doing the best you can by your kids. So you send the kid to a private Baptist school. The word private, by law, allows that school to have church all day, every day, and teach reading, writing, arithmetic, science, all of the required subjects of the American Education Society. It allows them to be able to teach and imprint their philosophical idealism instead of just teaching an education. Now here's the funny part. Public schools, many of them still start school with a prayer. Now I can see both sides of this. But pagans pray. And I had a pagan teen tell me one time, we don't pray, we cast magic. The difference is, what's the difference between praying for someone to get better and casting a magic spell for someone to get better? To which their very wise teenage reply was, well, we use blood, we use magic, we use athames, we use candles. Christians don't do that.
Oh, they have their form that they use.
I was just to say that.
Yeah. So, my question to this young person was, so, you're witch, obviously, and that's okay. I said, but I'm shaman. So, let's think about something here. I don't use an athame. Okay? I don't use blood. I'm damn sure not going to use my blood. I'm allergic to pain. This shit hurts. But still, right? So I don't use blood. I don't use an athame. I use a kani, which is a wooden blade. But I do use an altar and candles. So is your magic the only magic that's real, and all of the other magic in the world is not real? Well, ponder that for a second while I read some of these posts. Sabrina said, no, private schools are not safer. We had a child come to her jail that she's a guard at. Attempted capital murder charges from a shooting at a private school. Sabrina says her kids' school still has praise at events. Yes, they do. Most have a moment of silence now. Yes. See. Yes, and Lee says his kids' school has a moment of silence. I like that, right? Because if you're atheist, you can stand up just to offer support for those who do believe. And I mean, I have stood up in Christian churches just to offer support for those who are doing what they do. I don't have to believe the way you believe to support what you believe. Anybody not understand that? Anybody? And those who will watch our pre-recorded broadcast, I say right there, anybody not understand just standing up to support the moment? I'm of two minds about people not standing up for the Pledge of Allegiance, and boy, do I not want to get into that political rhetoric crap. I'm an American. I'd rather be in Scotland, but I'm an American. I've defended the flag. No, I'm not a veteran, but I have defended the flag. And I do pledge allegiance to the flag. When they say one nation under God, I change it to one nation under God and Goddess. I had an atheist one time go, but I don't believe in God. Okay, then change the word under God to under nobody. The look on their face, you could have bowled them over with a feather. Oh, well, I never thought about that. What's wrong with teaching our kids to stand up for the moment? I mean, here's my thought. I may be absolutely batshit crazy, but here's my thought. If I freely go to a Christian church with a friend or my daughter, or to see a play as we have done when my daughter was attending the churches, she did Christmas plays and what have you. Do you think I'm going to miss her doing a play, a musical, just because it's a Christian church? That doesn't say much for me, does it? We would go. When they stood, we would stand. When they started praying to Jesus and be saved by God, I just simply put in there in my own mind, God and Goddess. Of course, I did try to kind of drop the theatrics on Jesus and God. I just said God and Goddess. Thank you. Wow, what a concept.
Yep, what storage ground have what you believe in.
Yeah, you know, Lee says sometimes people don't think for themselves. Well, there's a good reason for that. I'm sure most of us that are either watching at the time or might be watching later, there's a good reason for people that don't think for themselves. It's not because they can't. It's because they're programmed not to. Who programs them not to? It starts at home, doesn't it? You'll have this overpowering parental at home going, you will think what I tell you to think, and if you don't think what I tell you to think, then you're wrong. And if you're wrong, I'm right. And even if I'm wrong, I'm still right. Therefore, you're wrong, and you'll think what I tell you to think. What does that do to kids? Oh my God. Discord, you were going to say something. Now nobody wants to say anything. Kids have to be given the freedom to speak. Right? I've had people tell me that when we're in a conversation, they can't get a word in edgewise. Well, it's because they don't speak up. I mean, if I'm on a tangent and I'm on a roll and my mouth is just a flapping, if you don't agree or if you have something to say, hell, get my attention. I'll shut up eventually. Maybe not. Yeah, I see the lights keep flickering over here from time to time in Discord, and their lights are on, but ain't nothing coming out of their mouth.
Not?
Not me.
Not me.
We're talking.
So what do you think? Raising children pagan.
I think in this time of stage of year, this century, you have to raise your children open-minded on all religions, not just pagan. Let them learn about each one of them and be supportive of them.
Agreed. Anybody else?
Yeah, that's part of the problem that's going on right now. Is part of it is the kids are not being allowed to be open-minded and look at things. Most parents and religions try to suppress all that kind of stuff. They don't want open minds. They want, like you said, the cattle mentality.
Well, also, I know it's children we're talking about, but what about the young adults that have been raised Christian, but they're questioning now to learn about paganism?
Open your arms.
Yep, mine. Yep.
Open your arms. Open your circles. I say this nowadays simply from personal experience. Carefully open your homes, but open your arms, open your minds, open your ability to share wisdom. Don't shove it down their throat. They get enough of that. Don't tell them that they're wrong. They get enough of that. The wrongness is in the closed-mindedness. I'll say that again. The wrongness is in the closed-mindedness. It's not in necessarily the improper training or education. The wrongness is in the inability or the lack of knowledge that it's okay for people to question how they were raised. I did. And I came back with the philosophy that I wasn't raised too badly. Lisa's offer yourself up for people to ask questions. You know, therein lies the whole point of the House of Pagans group, Open Pagan Church, Live with the Shaman. If people have questions, and if people have questions of myself or Lee or Sabrina or Clint or Cindy, you can get to us through the links on the Open Pagan Church site. You can get to us on the links on the House of Pagans site. And if you don't know how to hashtag something, I mean, hell, I'm 58 years old and I learned what hashtagging was 4 years ago. You put in the pound sign, which those of us that grew up in my age group called it the number sign. Some people even call it the tic-tac-toe sign. But it's called hashtag. And the name of what you're looking for with no spaces. Like hashtag House of Pagans. And hit enter, and Facebook, Tumblr, YouTube, TikTok. TikTok, you can hashtag Pagan Church, and we're there as well. So hashtags are an interesting little thing for searching. Educate yourself on your taught religion. And guys, check it out. If you were raised in a very closed, structured, well, how can you have closed and structured? But you can. A very closed, structured pagan family that may be only witchcraft, or maybe only druid, or maybe only whatever. Break out. Research the history of where your professed religion come from. Raising pagan children is just like raising any child. You know, it's like Dave says, raise children to be open-minded, then let them decide. Yes, and that is what we have been saying since hello this morning on Open Pagan Church. Raise your children to be open-minded. Raise your children that it's not my way, it's not somebody else's way, but it's your way. Your way, getting educated, asking questions, listening. Now, just because you listen to people doesn't mean you agree with them. And that's a big misconception. Well, if I listen to you and you're wrong, I'm going to be in trouble. No. Have a mind about yourself. If you ask me my opinion, and I give it to you, that's just my opinion. Anybody else?
Nope, I agree with it.
Always research, because there's always something new to learn.
Yeah, research. But in retrospect, don't research yourself to the point where you drive yourself crazy. It's okay not to understand what you're reading. Give it time to soak in. Most especially if you're reading some of the ancient writings of the religions of the past. Read a couple of pages and give it a day or two to sink in. Dave
Yeah,
said,
like you taught me. When the time is right, you'll understand it.
yes, absolutely. Dave says anyone open-minded, anyone closed-minded is limited in their own religion or path. Yes, Lisa's right. They should learn to do the research and form their own opinions. Closed-minded is closed. Oh, what? Closed-minded is closed what we are made of. Yeah. And, you know, when you think about it, that's all it. In my mind, and I'm going to kind of close with this. In my mind, raising pagan children is more down to raising open-minded children, raising kids that are more comfortable with an understanding that my way is not the only way, your way is not the only way, the school's way is not the only way. Think for yourself, ask questions, learn, be respectful. Man, be respectful first and foremost when you're talking to people. If you ask them a question, give them the courtesy to listen to what they say. You don't have to agree. You don't have to change your mind or change your mindset. But if you ask someone a question, at least give them the respect that they're giving you the answers as they see it. Good conversation today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. We have Live with the Shaman at 11 a.m. Central Time. Feel free to be there if you like. We'll have a little fun. And we're always open for questions over on House of Pagans. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time here on Open Pagan Church.